Lori Grinker doesn't have to go far to get world-class photographs. This is the view of the Chrysler Building from the rooftop of her apartment in New York City. These are images she reeled off in just a matter of minutes. But Grinker has spent a considerable amount of her life training her camera on something else. Something most of us would avert our eyes from. She's documented war from the viewpoint of the warrior.
This was in Hanoi.
She has images from around the world of men and women, old and young alike, including the child soldier Otis from Liberia.
He had been 8 when he was a child soldier, and here he was 15. Wow. And he was a commander. They called him Commanding Officer Dirty Ways.
Dirty Ways is the nickname Otis earned for the ways he killed. Grinker captured this picture of Otis as he was reenacting military drills, at the same time confessing that people were afraid of him because he killed in bad ways. He said he would kill and laugh at the same time. From laughter to tears, from young to old. You may leave for war, but war will never leave you. Grinker caught this tear forming on the grizzled face of Henry Green. He left his home in England in the 1950s to go off to war. Now an old man, he says the war comes back with you when you return. I don't think it ever ends, he says. I don't believe the war can ever end.
You know, you start with one person and these stories are fascinating, and you see somebody in a small village in West Africa and you talk to them about their war experience, and it's like the same stories that somebody's grandfather who was in World War II might be telling, and the same kinds of philosophy, realization, kind of poetry that comes out of them. So I just wanted to collect more and more and more.
And she did. The project began in 1986 and would take her around the world. She dedicated 15 years of her life to capturing all of these images. You see the winners and losers, you hear from the perpetrators and the victims. They're all collected in her landmark book, Afterwar, Veterans from a World in Conflict. When Grinker finished it, she found herself, in essence, another victim of war.
It was all so emotional, so all these emotions, it's like all these stories came into my soul, and then suddenly, as I was editing, all the voices started to come out, and it was really tough on me.
In an odd twist of fate, Lori Grinker, who spent 15 years of her life crisscrossing the world documenting the impacts of war, was able to see it firsthand when war came to her own doorstep on a sunny Tuesday morning in September of 2001.
Well, I never thought I'd see something like that. The day of, it was so shocking and it was so surreal.
But she worked through it, capturing some of the most iconic images from that day. Wars may be won or lost, but Grinker says the soldiers who fight in them all have something in common. They return home damaged and tormented, unable to forget what they've seen and done. They are home, but in their minds, they remain prisoners of war. Mike Walter, CCTV, New York.